The Machiavellian Seduction, a 1,000-word analysis of power, fear, and the illusion of control that presented philosophy. Drawing loosely and dramatically from Niccolò Machiavelli's political treatise, The Prince, offers a seductive but deeply flawed blueprint for modern relationships. It reframes romantic connection not as a partnership of mutual affection, but as a silent war of psychological dominance, where the ultimate goal is to be unforgettable through controlled absence, calculated reward, and the strategic installation of fear. At its core, it proposes a trade: swap authenticity for power, vulnerability for control, and genuine love for obsessive craving. While it accurately diagnoses certain human vulnerabilities, our anxiety around loss, the magnetism of mystery, our tendency to take consistency for granted, its prescriptions are a recipe for emotional dysfunction, not lasting fulfillment. The central pillar of this framework is the power of fear over love. It reinterprets Machiavelli's famous dictum that for a ruler, it is safer to be feared than loved for the bedroom. The argument posits that unconditional love becomes background noise, forgettable and weightless. In its place, a man must cultivate the fear of loss by establishing immovable boundaries and demonstrating a willingness to walk away without drama. This isn't fear of violence, but fear of his emotional withdrawal. Psychologically, this taps into the principle of intermittent reinforcement and loss aversion. We are wired to pay more attention to potential losses than to steady gains, and unpredictable rewards or withdrawals create a powerful addictive loop in the brain. The man who never begs becomes a puzzle, and his potential departure becomes a threat that hijacks focus. The video claims this transforms attraction into obsession. In reality, it transforms a healthy bond into an anxious attachment dynamic, where one partner is perpetually off balance, seeking validation from a withholding figure. This doesn't build love. It builds insecurity, which is often mistaken for intense passion. This leads to the second tenet: master the image. Here, the philosophy abandons the pursuit of genuine character for the curation of perception. It is not necessary to be good. It is necessary to appear good. In the context of attraction, this means prioritizing posture, tone, silence, and mystery over authentic self-expression. The goal is to become a frame that the woman's imagination fills in, making her a co-author of his allure. This leverages the ambiguity effect, where mystery feels more potent than known quantities. However, this is a short-term strategy with a long-term cost. Relationships are built on the gradual and rewarding revelation of true self. Flaws, dreams, and vulnerabilities included. A perpetually maintained image is a prison. It requires constant energy to uphold and prevents real intimacy. When the inevitable cracks appear, as they must, the reveal feels not like endearing humanity, but like betrayal and manipulation. The archetype of the lion and the fox is offered as the ideal behavioral model. The lion provides unshakable strength and boundaries. The fox provides cunning, patience, and strategic non-reaction. The combined effect is meant to make a man unpredictable and thus compelling, able to navigate a woman's tests without flinching. While composure and boundaries are undoubtedly attractive, framing a partner's natural emotional fluctuations as tests to be strategically passed is a cynical and adversarial view. It turns dialogue into gameplay. Healthy conflict resolution requires empathy and communication, not besting a partner with superior tactical silence. The man who doesn't play because he is too busy watching and waiting is not a partner. He is an evaluator, turning the relationship into a performance review. Perhaps the most insidious technique is divide her world. This is pure psychological infiltration, planting a seed of doubt with a calm, contradictory statement to create cognitive dissonance. The goal is not to convince, but to make her question her own narrative. This is a recognized manipulation tactic used to destabilize a person's sense of reality, making them more reliant on the manipulator for clarity. In a trusting relationship, beliefs are shared, explored, and sometimes debated with mutual respect. To deliberately create internal conflict in a partner to increase one's own influence is a form of emotional coercion. It doesn't create connection. It creates dependency. The behavioral engine of this entire system is reward in doses, punish all at once. This is operant conditioning applied to a human partner. Good behavior is met with scarce, unpredictable rewards, a look, a smile to foster addiction. Boundary violations are met with a single, decisive withdrawal of presence to punishment. This treats a woman not as a conscious equal but as a laboratory animal or a slot machine, her behavior to be shaped through calculated stimuli. Love and respect become commodities to be traded on this cold behavioral market. What is utterly missing is the human capacity for repair, forgiveness, and growth through conversation. A conflict resolved through a clean, cold, silent treatment leaves scars, not lessons. Finally, the ultimate aim is to be her turning point. This reveals the true narcissistic core of the philosophy, the desire not to share a life, but to become a pivotal, transformative trauma or trophy in her life story. It is the wish to be remembered as the one who got away or the one who changed everything. A ghost haunting her future relationships. This is the antithesis of building a shared future. It is about cementing a legendary past at the expense of our emotional well-being. Conclusion: the gravity of authenticity versus the emptiness of control. In its final call to build gravity instead of chasing validation, the philosophy reveals a profound irony. It correctly identifies that neediness and constant validation seeking are unattractive. However, its solution is not to build genuine, internal self-worth, but to simulate its external appearance through control tactics. This fabricated gravity is a hollow facsimile. It may pull people in initially through mystery and challenge, but it cannot hold a healthy, living, breathing relationship together. Gravity, in physics, is a force that attracts masses together. In human terms, true gravitational pull comes from the mass of a full character. Integrity, passion, kindness, purpose, and the courage to be vulnerable. The dark psychological frameworks are, ultimately, a coward's game. They are employed by those who fear the true risk of relationships, the risk of being seen, being hurt, and loving without guaranteed return. They replace that courageous vulnerability with a safe, controlled simulation of power. But what is won is not a partner, it is an obsession. And an obsession is a prison for both the keeper and the kept. The man who masters these techniques may become unforgettable, but he will likely find himself alone in a castle of his own design, wondering why the victory feels so empty, and why the love he secretly craves remains perpetually and safely out of reach. The real Machiavellian lesson he missed is that the most secure power is not seized through fear, but willingly granted through respect. And respect cannot be manipulated into existence. It must be earned by the one thing this whole framework forbids: being genuinely, consistently, and courageously good.